All right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, March 14th, and it's kind of a weird energy today, but we're going to roll with it anyway. So I just wanted to invite you guys and say welcome for being here. If you're catching us on the replay, that's actually fine too. I'm going to mute everybody that comes on to make sure we don't have background noise, and then we'll open it up for questions later. But today is positive body language for self-confidence, and our guest today is Vanessa Raymond. I'm super excited because you guys know I kind of talk to everybody before they come on. And Vanessa is so, I mean, whenever I met her, it was just really awesome. I love the way that she talks about her dance experience and her massage experience and things like that. And she brings it all together and she teaches about body language. And I think it's so important to have that. So I know you guys know I have the formal introduction. I could do that. That's not my style. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Vanessa, and I can't wait to see what she has to teach us today.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you here. Welcome. I'm excited to chat with you today and talk to you about how I actually divided into two sections, how posture and body language can facilitate you in really feeling a lot better about yourself, the way other people receive you. It can help you create rapport. It can help with your energy levels. And also, of course, for me, the main thing is I'm very passionate about working with people on improving their self-image and their self-confidence. I think we all have a way of selling ourselves short, and sometimes also maybe even putting too much emphasis on what we think other people might think of us, instead of focusing on the positive things in our lives and turning that into happiness. And it can be so contagious when you know how to present yourself to people. I think it's something that everybody knows. All the things that I will share with you today is probably stuff that in the back of your mind you are totally aware of, but then it's about raising the awareness. And when you really become aware of these things, you can really use them to your advantage in your life. So before I
can feel myself wanting to like situate.
Yeah, I know this always happens, and people are like, okay, so now I better sit up straight. But yeah, so just before I go into the meaty bits of everything, I'll tell you a little bit about me and my background and how this all came about. So I teach the system, which I named the Victory Factor, because I feel that we all have that special something inside ourselves, that special X factor or that special something that attracts people to us. But not everybody knows how to 100% harness it or use it to their advantage. And I feel when you raise the awareness, that is when it starts really working for you. My background really is in the performance industry. I have a degree in musical theater, and I performed for many, many years. And going through the experience of always being in the public eye, also dancing was always my number one trade, my number one passion. Always comparing yourself to your fellow performers, your fellow dancers, and then also going through the experience of all the rejection that goes along with auditions and trying to get into shows and doing all that. And then that really, for me, directly translated into my life. And I think all of us have, in some way or another, these experiences, whether it's job interviews or first dates, just getting together with a friend or a prospective new business partner, whatever it may be. We all have had disappointments, and then, of course, victories where we feel we succeeded, and then in other places we did not do so well. And I think often we can be super hard on ourselves and project that onto ourselves and our own self-image. And so that's kind of how this came about for me. And when I became a Pilates instructor, I'm also Pilates certified. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a massage therapist, and I'm also a qualified esthetician. So I'm really all about health, wellness, beauty, just helping people feel the best they can feel. That is, for me, really a priority. So for those of you who are on with me on the call today, please keep a pen and paper handy, because I might ask you a little bit of self-reflective questions that you might or might not want to share with us during or later. Just because I feel like when we share experiences, sometimes that also helps us. And for me, definitely, it was experiential. Going through not ever being, I think as women, we all sometimes worry about our weight or our appearance, and especially being a performer, being in the public eye all the time. It was such a big emphasis in my life that when I realized that that is not really what it's about, that is when everything changed for me. And that is when everything changed for the better. So to start with that said, the Pilates side of everything really brought me into what posture really means and how that really helps people. So I'll share a little personal story with you as far as that goes. I was teaching in a studio in Vegas, Pilates, and I had people come through the door all the time that wanted to work on their bodies, come and do Pilates, whether it is to eliminate pain, get stronger, lose weight, whatever it may be. A young lady walked in one day, and we'll just call her Mary for the sake of the story. And I was sitting behind the desk scheduling my appointments, and she walked in, and I could barely see her face. She had her head slumped over forward, her hair, she had bangs that were over her face. I could barely see her. And she had really insecure, bad posture. With a very, very quiet voice, she said to me, I really would like to start some Pilates. I'm like, okay, Mary, let's sign you up. Come in tomorrow and we'll do our consultation and we'll get you started. Long story short, Mary came in. I sat down with her. During the consultation, she shared with me that she had a tumor in her neck that was removed. So she was really insecure about this defect, basically, how she saw it. She saw it as a defect on herself. And by growing her hair long, slumping over, and hunching her shoulders, she thought she was hiding this from people. So I slowly started working with her by putting her on the reformer. We worked in Pilates as we do with posture. But every day when she came, I would stand her up in front of the mirror and I'd say to her, Mary, look at yourself in the mirror. Look how beautiful you look when you stand up straight. How do you feel? And she'd be like, I feel really good. And she slowly started coming in, looking more upright, a little bit more of a smile. 2 months. We've been working together for 8 weeks. She came to see me twice a week. She walked in one day and she had her hair cut completely short. And she walked in tall, and her husband walked in with her. And this always tears me up a little bit because it was such an event for me in my life, because it made such a change in my life, watching this happen and seeing the effects that simply changing her posture and her perception of what other people see when they look at her. Her husband walked in and he walked straight up to me, gave me a big hug, and he said, I want to thank you. You changed Mary's life. She was not feeling insecure about that anymore. And I just gulped away the tears and I thanked him, and she thanked me, and she continued with me. But I watched her grow, and how what she saw as a problem and what her posture actually pulled the focus towards was now a non-issue. And now it's a non-issue for other people too, because the moral of the story for me is that we often draw attention to the things that we feel insecure about, more so than we would have if we did not pull so much focus or feel so insecure about those things. So this is quite an elaborate example, but this really happened, and this really showed me how this changed her life, because suddenly this wasn't important anymore. And if you can imagine how other people felt in her environment when they were around her, the moment you are insecure or you feel self-conscious about something, you're making everyone around you quite uncomfortable. they don't really know what to do with that or how to deal with that. So my message to you really is find a way, and I'm going to share some principles with you today, to really just start loving yourself for who you are, and whatever insecurities you might have, for whatever imperfections that you have, remember that they're more prominent in your mind than they are in anybody else's mind. You are the one that really brings attention to that. How many times has someone given you a compliment? Let's say, for instance, oh, Jennifer, you look so beautiful today. And you're like, oh, I'm having a terrible hair day.
I
Okay.
used to be super guilty of that. I really, really did. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to be, and it was almost like there was a misconception around being humble in not
Yes.
accepting.
Exactly. Exactly. Cindy, do you have any examples of anything that comes to mind for you?
Oops. There you
There
go.
you are.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Probably that one. It's
Yeah.
like when you're looking nice. It's like, oh, this old thing I got
Yes,
2 years
exactly.
ago.
Yeah. Like someone will say to me, oh man, I love those pants. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
I just got them at Ross, or whatever it might be. So immediately you are actually bursting their bubble, because they came and they gave you an honest compliment, and all they wanted was for you to accept it and feel good about it. And then you turned it around on them and you went, okay, well, never mind that compliment. So it really is, there's a lot to be said for graciously accepting a compliment, and then also really taking it to heart, because just graciously accepting it isn't enough. You got to go, okay, well, why would that person say that? They would really say that if they meant it, right? They wouldn't just say it, just hopefully they wouldn't just say it because they want to make an impression or whatever it is. But along with that comes some of the things that we will talk about today. I feel like common courtesy, friendliness, all these things are things that we use in our lives to draw other people into us, to make ourselves more approachable, and to leave an impression. So with the victory factor, I really talk to ladies and gentlemen. I also have some male clients about things that they can do in their everyday lives. And really what these are is their habits that we can cultivate to help ourselves leave a lasting impression, as well as feel great about ourselves. The way that works for me, and I always say to people, what makes the victory factor unique is a lot of self-image or self-confidence programs out there make use of a lot of affirmations, self-affirmations, meditation. I'm for all of that. All of that is wonderful and amazing, and that is incorporated in the whole picture. But for me, the focus in this program and this wisdom that I share with all of you is that we can use our posture and body language to ultimately feel better about ourselves. Because if we put a positive image out there, we are going to get positive energy back from the people in whose presence we are. And in the end, it's all about making everyone else around us feel comfortable and feel great about themselves. Because let's face it, everybody wants to feel good about themselves. So I'm going to start by talking about posture. But first, those of you who have your pen and paper ready, do me a favor and take just a minute or a few seconds and write down 5 positive points about yourself that you can think about right now. And it doesn't matter if it's physical or it's your personality traits or whatever it is that comes up for you. 5 things that you feel positive about in your own life, about yourself.
Oops. I'll tell you, 6 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody that's watching the replay, like if you're struggling with it, know that that's okay. And
it is okay.
Yeah. And know that that's okay. Like wherever you are is where you are. So I love a lot of what you're talking about. So as Cindy's writing, and I'm writing down too, but
okay.
I just want to bring, instead of just having that quiet, if anybody's watching the replay, know that if it's hard for you to do that, that's okay.
It is okay. And the things that I'm going to talk to you about today, it's going to help you grow that list. And I'm going to tell you that when you're done with that list, you're going to keep that handy, because you're going to keep that around. It is so important to put focus on those positive things in our lives, and the things that we feel good about ourselves, to focus on those while we work on the ones that we might not feel so good about. So, and we all have that. Remember that everybody, doesn't matter who they are, whether it's, I like to use Cameron Diaz as an example, because I'll tell you another personal story where she came up as a direct example for me as someone that, I'll just tell you the story. Why not?
Yeah, just do it.
Just tell you the story.
Just do it.
I was working on cruise ships. I for a while, I performed on cruise ships. I was a guest entertainer. So I would go on the cruise ships. I'd perform. I lived a lovely life out there. It was fabulous. But as a performer, again, you're in the public eye all the time. And I also had some things that at that time I wasn't feeling 100% good about. So I was talking to a close friend who was a partner working with me at the time. And he said to me, I was just very down one day, and he was like, what's going on? What's going on with you? I was like, well, I don't feel motivated. I don't feel good about my body right now. I was also doing magic. So I was in and out of tiny spaces and tiny costumes. And I was like, I just don't feel good about myself right now. Of course, this friend gave me looked at me and gave me an answer that I didn't expect. At first, I was like, this is not what I wanted to hear. But after I had some time to reflect, I realized how valuable that was. So the friend told me and said, Vanessa, if you want to feel tall and skinny, you got to start acting tall and skinny. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to hear. I want you to tell me you're beautiful no matter what and whatever else. So I was a little upset at first, and then I gave it a little bit of thought. And he said, who is the celebrity out there that you want to emulate? Who is out there that you think is fabulous? And I was like, oh, at the time, it was Cameron Diaz. I was like, she's so cute, and she's got a cute body, and she's so gorgeous. And he's like, well, how would she walk? Would she slough around? Like, would she walk with her shoulders slumped over? Would she slam her feet on the floor and slough around? I'm like, no, probably not. She'd probably stand tall and walk tall. And I mean, again, it's not something we all do 100% all the time. But for the sake of feeling better about myself, I thought, okay, so today I'm going to walk around like I'm Cameron Diaz.
That's awesome.
So I went out on the cruise ship that day, of course, so everyone around the ship has seen me perform. I've had chance to make some acquaintances on the cruise ship. I had some fellow people on the ship that was working there too. I've been on the ship for a few weeks, so I knew some people. I walked out the door that day with the intention that I was going to be tall and skinny. In other words, I really just pretended to be that way. I am not lying to you. 5 people stopped me in the hallways or in the shopping mall on the ship, wherever, and say to me, wow, you look fantastic today. What are you doing different? Is your hair different? Is your makeup different? I didn't do anything to my physical appearance. I didn't change my hair, didn't change my makeup. I was wearing the clothes I always wear. I was simply walking differently, presenting myself with a different energy. And right there, I immediately got 5 compliments within a couple hours of being out of my cabin. And that is where the victory factor was born.
I love that.
That is where it all started. I was like, there's something to this. There's definitely something to this. Have you lost weight? No, I haven't lost weight, but I'm not walking like I'm heavy and feeling fat. I was walking like I was feeling light and tall and skinny. So immediately I was getting positive feedback from people. And what does that do? The moment you get positive feedback from people, you start feeling better about yourself. So that is the whole foundation on which all this is built. And I I compiled some specific things that you can incorporate in your everyday life to help you move forward feeling light, tall, skinny, happy, better about yourself. And also, these are tools that you can use when you need to. So for instance, if you have been able to practice your beautiful posture, walking tall with long strides instead of schluffing along, these are things that you can use when you go for your job interview, for your audition, for your first date, whatever it is you are going to be doing. So these are little life skills. It's not necessary. Like I said, I was acting like I was Cameron Diaz. It's not being fake. People have asked me, they're like, well, but didn't you feel fake? I'm like, no, I didn't feel fake. I felt like the best version of me. That is how I felt. And that is what our goal is. Our goal is to be the best version of ourselves. Not necessarily. So we use someone as an example. Maybe there's a role model out there for you to get you to that place. So if there's a role model out there that you can think of right now, also do me a favor and write that down on your piece of paper.
So I have to tell you this. I don't remember where I got this from. I know it was a speaker at some event and I don't remember where it was, but have you ever done like the Superwoman pose?
Yes, the power poses.
Yes, the power pose of like the Superwoman
Yes.
pose. It's so cute because my daughter, in her high school team, I kind of jokingly one day was like, you guys all need to stand like Wonder Woman before you go out and dance. And they kind of giggled and I'm like, no, really, it'll make you feel like you're ready to really knock this dance out. You know, like you can knock it out of the park with this performance. And so they all did it and they thought it was so much fun.
Yes.
And they did so amazing.
Exactly.
So I'm like, and it just puts you in that space.
It does. It changes your body chemistry. And that's actually what I'm going to be talking about next. Yes. So that was a great intro into that, Jennifer.
So I got to ask, can I ask Cindy who did you put down, Cindy? Did you write anybody down?
No, I didn't write anybody, but I did get 9 things about myself.
Yay! That's good.
We love that.
Yay, Cindy.
We love that. Yes. Well, and sometimes that somebody doesn't need to be a celebrity or somebody else. It can simply be you picturing yourself exactly where you want to be or how you want to present yourself. And again, when I talk about these things, it's really not about how big your nose is or how you wear your hair or do you have long eyelashes or not, or whatever it may be. It's really about the energy you give off. Being able to give people that air of, I am confident, I feel comfortable in my own skin, and being able to send them that message as opposed to, ooh, I don't really want anybody to look at me today because I'm having bad hair day and I have a pimple on my nose, whatever it might be. We got to learn that by doing that, we draw other people's attention to those things. Whereas normally, if we were just being our confident selves, feeling good about ourselves in our own skin, other people probably wouldn't even notice those things that we draw so much attention to. So with that said, Jennifer, you mentioned the power poses. When we make a conscious effort to improve our posture, to stand up straighter, to stand up taller, to present ourselves as taller than we might be, standing well aligned with gravity, we do a few things. We change the body chemistry. We create endorphins. So, you've heard about endorphins when people go running or they exercise. People who do that a lot, they get addicted to exercising because they get addicted to that feeling of the endorphins, of those feel-good hormones in our bodies. Simply doing something like standing up straight or walking briskly with long strides, putting a smile on your face instead of being just depressed or whatever it is you're feeling, can physically change the chemistry in your body. That's why I say to a lot of my clients, a good place to start is your smile. And now it sounds weird. It's like, okay, so how do I smile if I'm having a really bad day? How do I do that? Sometimes it's a matter of, okay, you got to conjure up something in your mind that makes you happy, something that makes you feel good, your puppy dog, the beach, I don't know, someone who did something for you in the past month or year that makes you feel good. But for the most part, if you can simply just take on that posture, like you said, the power pose or the smile, it does change the chemistry in your body. So you immediately do start feeling better. One of the little tips that I give some of my clients is in the morning when you're doing your makeup, or when you're in the shower or in the bath, or you're getting ready for your day, challenge yourself to smile for 20 seconds. I don't care why or what, just smile. It is unbelievable how life-changing that is, because it puts your body in a different state. And again, I mean, obviously there's different things that happen in our lives. There's always life events, things that happen that might make us feel like this is not the day for this, and that is okay. There's always time for everything. But I'm just talking in general right now. If you just want to start every day off feeling better about life and better about yourself, use your smile. Your facial expressions is also a big part of your body language. Facial expressions is, I would say, a good 60% of body language, because it doesn't help if you have like a positive body image going or body language going, but your face isn't telling the same story. So that's one thing to think about. The other thing is that when you talk about posture, correct posture, a lot of people suffer from a lot of aches and pains. How many people have chronic backache? I can say with confidence that 8 out of 10 times, that is because of poor posture and poor movement patterns. And what happens is, because of the way we live, our lifestyles, being on the computer all day, sitting behind the wheel, driving, our posture becomes this way, and our brains perceive it as normal. Our brains perceive it as, oh no, my body is in good posture because this is where I'm normally at. This is where my body normally is. Whereas it might not necessarily be where you eliminate the most aches and pains. The most aches and pains gets eliminated when you are aligned with gravity. And how do we align with gravity? It's that having the ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, hips over the knees, knees over the... So it's that whole postural alignment. Now, of course, when I teach this class to people, when they come to the class, it's a 3-hour class. I'm not going to go into all the details of that today, but I talk to them about posture in depth. And we do some postural resistance band exercises, because for a lot of the times, because we get set in this poor posture, those muscles develop that way. This shortens, that lengthens, this gets weak, that, So sometimes we have to strengthen certain things to be able to maintain our good posture. But for the most part, most of us can maintain that posture just by every day being cognizant of it. Maybe set a timer for yourself that goes off every 30 minutes and say, okay, sit up straight or stand up straight. Because it is a habit that you have to relearn. We all have to relearn that skill. But for the sake of our short time that we have today, I'm going to do a little visualization with you. That's going to help you with your posture. If you have room and you can stand up, that would be great. If you don't, you can do it sitting down and just really be aware of your spine. And you can try it again maybe later, standing up where you're standing. But for the visualization, I'm going to have you can either close your eyes or you can just stare ahead, whatever it is you want to do. And what this does is it just gives you that feeling of where your posture should be in space. So I'm going to have you imagine you have a red velvet rope attached to the crown of your head. And it is reaching into the heavens, into the sky, or to the ceiling, wherever you can imagine it. And I want you to feel like this rope is gently just elevating your body an inch off the floor or off the seat where you're sitting. And I want you to feel what it would feel like if all the bones of your skeleton were hanging off of this velvet rope. So feel gravity, draw your fingertips towards the ground. And now with that said, I want you to just take a second and lift your shoulders, bring your shoulders forward and then up to your ears and back and down. And then just feel where they sit nicely over your hips. take a nice deep breath in, fill up your lungs, and as you exhale, I want you to feel like you're drawing your belly into your spine like you would if you were zipping up a tight pair of jeans. Like, okay, just draw those muscles in. Those are your transverse abdominals doing the work. Now I want you to just open your eyes and just feel how it feels, because with that visualization, imagining your body hanging from the ceiling as opposed to you standing on the ground, you get that feeling of the bones being 100% aligned with gravity. I like this visualization because often when you say to people, okay, pull your shoulders back, and then their chest will stick out, or move your hips this way, and then something else go out of place. So when you have a total picture of your body and how it's aligned with gravity, it's much easier for the body to find that position. So how does that feel, ladies? Does that make sense?
She's giving a thumbs up.
Good.
Yeah. Did it feel good, Cindy?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and you kind of get
feel the vertebrae going
elongating.
Yeah, and there's space in between them.
Exactly. I like that you said that, because suddenly we have that airy feeling of, oh, I'm floating. I'm not heavy.
Right.
And sometimes just visualizing that is all you need to get out of that slumped, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so depressed posture. And again, what do you think happens when you walk into a room with that light feeling? You're going to immediately draw attention in a good way. And people are going to want to be around you, because that, when you feel good and when you feel good about yourself and where your body is in space, it's contagious. Everyone wants to feel that way, and everyone wants to be around you and communicate with you. And sometimes people will even ask, wow, you look fabulous. What do you do? And, the answer sometimes is as simple as, I like to focus on the positive things in my life, and I really have become aware of my posture, and I love to stand tall because it gives me energy. It eliminates pain in my body. And that's the next thing. It does give you energy. It generates energy. Energy generates energy. When you're slumping around, you're actually draining energy from your body. Whereas when you're standing tall or sitting tall, you are exuding more energy and drawing more energy, positive energy to yourself. Does that make sense to everybody?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going to the woo-woo side of it, going, okay, that aligns all the chakras, and then the energy can flow.
I mean, really, you can go in depth in that, and I'm totally all about that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
When I have time to talk about all that, I do. But really, you all understand the concept. You know what I'm talking about. And again, like I said, what I'm talking about today here is not super revolutionary. It's something that people inherently know, but we lose the awareness and we let go of those good habits. And it just becomes another everyday drag instead of raising the awareness, relearning those habits, and then seeing how that impacts our lives. I've watched lots of people who went through this with me change their lives and everything in their lives. If we go on to talk about the law of attraction, how when you start exuding this positive energy, how things in your life actually just changes. Everything turns around for the better. And again, we're talking in general. There's always things in our lives that happen that drag us down, but these are good tools to help us get out of that too. Help us move past those negative or sad or depressing things that do happen in everybody's lives. These are simply tools that we can use. So I'm going to move on from posture. I think I pretty much gave you a good idea of that. And like I said, I do go into more detail of postural exercises. And by the way, if I may just throw in here in the middle, I do teach this class at host locations. If there's ever a group of people that want to take it, I'm willing to travel and come out and teach it over there. It's, like I said, it's a 3-hour class, but I also have a actual self-image certification that I teach. That's a 9-hour class.
We'll have to connect about this later, because since I know you're local, I really think it would be fun to put an event together
Yes,
And I think it would be
absolutely.
really good. So we'll do it. We'll talk about that. And then also, while we're in this little segue here, for anybody watching the replay, under the YouTube video, we'll make sure that all your information is there so that they can find your website and your Facebook and all of those things so that they can connect with you as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer. How are you doing there, Cindy? Doing good? Awesome.
Yes, I'm doing really good.
Awesome. Fantastic. So I always say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But really, as I said before, it is in the energy that you exude, and the way you feel is everything when it comes to making impressions, or good first impressions, or impressions on other people, leaving lasting impressions. Because again, if you are feeling good about yourself, you are comfortable with yourself, everyone in your presence are going to feel more comfortable, and they're going to feel your happiness and your positive energy, and they are going to. So with that, I have another little example for you. When I started writing this material, I would go out and I do these, I would test it. I'll go out and test it. So I decided I was going to do 2 consecutive days in the same grocery store, the grocery store where I go every day, wearing the same outfit, the same hairstyle, the same makeup, except day 1, I walked in, minded my own business. I kind of took on a bit more of a slumped over, relaxed posture, did my shopping, didn't really make eye contact with anybody. And I checked out and I went home, and it was fine. It was okay. It was just another day at the grocery store. Next day, same outfit, same hair, same everything, different attitude. Changed my attitude. I was going to be happy, friendly, courteous, make eye contact, tall and skinny feeling, light on my feet. I whisked around the grocery store doing my shopping. 3 people that I have never seen before, that I don't know, stopped me in the middle of the grocery store and gave me compliments. What did you have today? Oh my gosh, share some of that. You look beautiful today. I love your hair color. As I was checking out, I had a full-on conversation with the cashier, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're the best thing that happened to me today. See how you can change your experiences in your everyday life, just everyday tasks that we do, by changing your attitude. And part of changing your attitude is changing your posture and your body language, how you communicate with people. So the next thing I want to talk about is eye contact. I've worked with a lot of people who are painfully shy, who have a really hard time maintaining eye contact, or making eye contact. Unfortunately, what that does is it creates an image for you that's not really true. Because there are 2 things that can happen. One is, if you're really not ever making eye contact with people, firstly, you disconnect with the world. You don't really make friends. You don't really connect with people. And that's something that all of us need in our lives. And secondly, people might get 1 of 2 impressions of you. One is either you are insecure, lost cause, you don't have much going in your life, whatever, I don't know, they just get these impressions that they create in their minds. Or, as I had in school, I had like 3 or 4 friends say to me once we became friends, oh my goodness, Vanessa, we thought you were a snob before we met you. And I'm like, well, I was just shy. I was painfully shy in school. I mean, I was really shy. So when people really got to know me, they got to know me as a really friendly, happy, go lucky person. But because I was shy and I never made eye contact with anybody, they thought I was above them. I thought that I was above them and I was a snob. So see how you present yourself to people can really create an image of you that's not real for them. So part of this is also getting you to really own yourself and your own personality, and getting for other people to see you shine as who you are, and not who they think you are, but who you really are. Yeah, those things, I mean, those things happen to all of us, but we don't always really pay attention to them. So I just like to, again, raise the awareness and make everyone aware that it really is important how you present yourself to the world, because sometimes we think we're humble, like you said, Jennifer, but other people perceive it differently. Mm-hmm. They might just decide in their own way, this is how they're going to perceive what they think they saw.
Right.
And it's not always a real perception of who you are. So putting ourselves out there, it does make us feel more vulnerable. But in the long run, it's going to help us feel better about ourselves, because people can really see us for who we are. And we also immediately learn who those important people in our lives are. On a little bit more of a serious note with this material, when you start using these principles of posture and body language, there are people that I've worked with who've had people in their lives who don't really want them to be confident and be the best version of themselves, because they are not, what's the word? They're not confident with themselves, so they need you to be uncomfortable and unconfident along with them. So this stuff really also shows you who the people in your life are that you want to be around. You want people in your life that helps lift you up, helps you feel better about yourself, and not drain your energy and pull you down along with them, so that makes them feel better. Does that make sense? So that's on a little bit of a deeper note. We can go really deep with this, but today I just want you all to get the gist of this message. And I feel like these are things you can really immediately go out and use in your world now, today. It's not something that you have to take hours to learn. The only thing is that you have to keep the awareness, and you want to always make sure you learn the habits and you maintain the habits so that they become part of who you are. So that is coming back to our power postures.
I'm like, this whole thing is making me be like, when we did that exercise earlier, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been on the computer too much. I can feel it. So now I just want to stretch.
You feel the muscles like, stretching.
I'm trying here, but I'm like, I've got to stretch this out.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. And it does need to be stretched out, because we get all tightened and it affects us in so many ways. It's crazy in how many ways it affects us. So I have this quote here, which I love. And it's by the philosopher William James. He believed that acting a certain way could make you feel that way, which we now know is true because hundreds of experiments have proved him right. A Clark University study showed that smiling made people feel happier. For best results, smile and hold for 20 seconds. It always makes me laugh. It's like, for best results, brush for 20 seconds. Smile and hold for 20 seconds. But it really works. It's crazy. At the University of Rochester, when researchers gave subjects an unsolvable problem, those who folded their arms in a stubborn pose persevered nearly twice as long as others. So just like the power pose makes you feel powerful, that stubborn pose of crossing your arms, now we're talking about body language, can help you persevere longer. Then it says next time you're trying to avoid French fries, try clenching your fists.
I'm going to have to try that one. French fries are my downfall.
So I know there's a TED talk on this, on power poses and postures and how it affects our lives. If you can ever look that up, it's a great TED talk to listen to, and it really just solidifies. And I found the TED talk, of course, after I wrote all this material, and I was like, oh my goodness, here, it's all
Don't
here.
You know, when you get that kind of confirmation, you're like, oh my gosh, somebody else is doing it. I did it.
Exactly. Now, the other thing that affects, I always talk about how you use your body language to feel better. But our emotions affect our body language, correct? So how you feel is going to directly affect your body language. But how often is how we feel really related to how we communicate with ourselves? Very often. Sometimes it's not really how we get communication from other people, but how we communicate with ourselves. So the last thing, because we're running out of time, I want you to take a second to do is write down just in a quick sentence how do you think at this stage in your life, and of course we all go through stages, how do you communicate with yourselves when you're in quiet, or when you're with yourself, or when you're doing your makeup, or when you get ready for your day? Are you standing in front of the mirror going, ugh, you know, I don't look forward to today. I feel so fat and I feel so ugly. I'm exaggerating, of course. It could be something really small. Or are you sitting in front of the mirror going, you know, I really love my eyes and I have a little work to do on, you know, I really want to lose 5 pounds, but all in all, I feel good about, oh, I love the dress I'm wearing today. What is it? How do you communicate with yourself in a positive way or in a negative way? That is key. But also the real main, and I didn't get to talk about body language a whole lot today, talk more about posture, but they're very closely related. They work together. My thought that I want to leave you with is that no matter how you feel, by using your physical tools, your posture and your body language, and exercise goes along with this too, and some other things, but by simply straightening up, finding some positive things to focus on, putting a smile on your face, you can turn your day around, and you can also possibly turn the day for someone close to you around, or someone in your presence around, because these things are very contagious. If you walk around and you present yourself, regardless of what's going on in the background, in the environments where it's needed, if you can learn how to use the best version of yourself, you will see how the positive energy, the positive emotions, the positive feelings that you put out there comes back to you from other people, because it's contagious. And when you get that positive feedback back, it's like a snowball. Everything snowballs together and makes you feel better about yourself. The better you feel about yourself, the better you're going to make other people feel. The better you make them feel, the better they're going to make you feel. And it is that upward spiral instead of getting yourself into that downward spiral. So I hope that some of what I shared with you here today really resonated with you, and that you feel that you can go out, and whether it is just finding that place where you feel taller and skinnier and lighter about yourself and life, or whether it's something that profoundly affects you today, I hope that either way I'm helping your day be brighter and happier. And I invite all of you to contact me if you want to know more. The Victory Factor, we actually have 3 workshops. Jennifer, if you don't mind me mentioning this.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I have the posture and body language workshop. We have a wonderful workshop called Tween to Queen, which is for mothers and tween daughters, to open the conversation about body image and how we're affected by that, and how moms and daughters can communicate about that and make it better for both and each other. And then I also have a vocal image workshop where I talk to you about how your voice is also a big part of the image that you project out, and how to represent yourself congruently by using your voice, your posture, and your body language to put out that wonderful first impression and that best version of yourself.
So thank you so much. So today was like super fun. I wish we could talk more. It's crazy how fast time goes on these webinars, but it's so much fun. And I know we could talk forever and learn so much more from you, but thank you so much for being a guest today. It's been a weird day. Like I said, we usually have more people, but I feel like it was on purpose that it was this little intimate setting. And so we will get the replay out to people. That I know there was some ladies who couldn't make it, but they did want to get the replay. So I'll make sure they get that. And if it's okay with you, we'll put it on YouTube. And then that way everybody can have access to it later. So I'll get that all processed. And I am super, super happy. Thank you for coming on today. Thank you for being my guest. And I can't wait to see how we work together in the future.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It was wonderful. Thank you for having me as your guest. And I will close by saying you can go to victoryfactor.com to get more information. And it was just wonderful to be able to share this with you today, because I'm truly passionate about it.
Yeah, I love it. So, alrighty. Well, thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off because we're almost out of time, and we'll see everybody soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.